Good morning. Welcome to the Day 8 check-in for the Arizona Trail 800-mile Showdown. I'm here joining you again. This is a happy Sunday morning to everyone out there. We are going to take a look at Michael McKnight and his pursuit of the Arizona Trail FKT. So he is now a little bit over 8 days into his adventure. He started 8 a.m. last Saturday at the Utah border, and he is blazing through the trail right now. He is now latitudinally, that's not even a word really, but he's at basically almost the same, either latitude or longitude, horizontal to where I'm at here in studio in Phoenix. He is almost passing below south of me, which is crazy to think about, on his way to the Mexico border, and it is going to be a nail biter to see if he's going to make it. So we're going to get into that and more. Mike did call me today with a trail update, so I'm going to share that with you guys. We appreciate all 30 of you in the chat taking time out of your Sunday morning to check in, and all of you who have been tuning in each day. I do want to give a quick shout out to Mountain Ops Nutrition. Got some of their product here. Thank you to them for supporting this coverage. If you want to get 20% off their products, you can use the code south to north, all caps, or north to south, and that's in the description. Let's get on to the show. All right, we are going to kick things off. I'm going to take you to our website view. This is greatwesternadventures.com, and if you've been tuning in, this is how you track them. You can go to their website here, and I'll make myself disappear temporarily. So here is the greater Phoenix area on screen, and he is right over here, this red square. He has passed through Roosevelt Lake last night, and he is heading straight south. You can see through the Superstition Wilderness, that green border there. So he is in another stretch without crew, very extremely remote Arizona backcountry terrain. So the last couple days has been the theme. He went through the Matazal Wilderness, then the Four Peaks Wilderness yesterday, and now he's got the Superstition Wilderness. And I can't stress how remote these areas are and how little traffic they get, at least through the Arizona Trail section of these. So he is probably, I would say, getting close to halfway through the Superstition Wilderness zone is what it looks like. He is right around southbound mile 456. And his crew is just on the other side of the wilderness boundary, down here at Rivas Ranch. So you can see the end. There is a Forest Service road that is right there. That's the Rivas Ranch trailhead. So he was hoping in his original plan to get here at the end of day 7. We are now past the end of day 8. But keep in mind, this projection was for a 12-day FKT. So that being said, he's probably potentially a little bit behind, I think, the overall 13-day, 3-hour FKT point. So, but that being said, he has gone through 3 tough wilderness stretches, and there are some easier miles ahead. So when I say tough, I'm talking super rocky, grasses overgrown, covering the trail. You can't see where you're putting your feet. We've got overgrown brush. So wilderness areas, you cannot use power tools. You can't drive into a wilderness area. So anything that is done trail work wise has to be done by hand and has to be hiked in. So, all right, that is where he's at. So I did get a call this morning from Mike. He got a little bit of service a couple hours ago. And he was questioning whether he's going to continue at this point, just being open with everyone. So he knows he's a bit behind pace. He knows what he's been up against through these wilderness zones, and he's not sure if he's going to be able to make up the time and get the FKT. And it sounds like he's not necessarily interested in just finishing the trail. If he's not going to get the FKT, he might pull the plug. So I encouraged him that the trail will get easier post-Superstition. So it sounds like he is feeling better mechanically. His legs are feeling better. A lot of things there are improving. But hopefully he's going to, I think he's going to continue and see how the desert section will open up a bit more. So between the edge of the Superstitions, Picket Post Trailhead, and Oracle is probably, this would be Picket Post down here where you have the US 60 crossing. So that's mile 483 southbound. And then he's got this massive stretch of desert. So 483 all the way down to this, probably the base here, 483 to 583, which would be American Flag Trailhead. So 100 miles. It should not be overgrown. It should be pretty smooth sailing. It's relatively flat. I think I can put up the profile here, actually. Perfect. So as you can see, this is a northbound from left to right. And Montana Mountain in the middle there. Montana Mountain. So you can see these big three wilderness areas. Matazals, then you have Four Peaks, then he's going through this one, the Superstitions right here. You kind of drop through all those. And Montana Mountain is this last big one with the green pointy part. He's going to go all the way down. He has one more climb through White Canyon, and the lowest point on the trail right there is going to be the Gila River. And he will climb a bit up to Oracle, but it is relatively low and should be easier travel for quite a while. So if he can make a push through that, he then of course has those three big peaks left essentially. You've got Lemon, which is here. You've got Micah, which is a very sharp climb up and down, but relatively short in distance. And then he's got, Miller Peak at the very end, but that could be done in kind of a final push. So there is a look at some of that topography. So that's kind of where things are at as of today. I want to take a quick look before I get to some of your questions we did get a short video from Brandon, our videographer out there. And this is Mike McKnight leaving Sunflower with Jeff Browning as his pacer. You can see the mountains as he zooms out here, kind of get a little glimpse of that was heading towards the Four Peaks region. So still a lot of climbing in that section for sure. So that's about all we got. It's been a little limited in terms of what we've been able to get through these wilderness areas and wilderness zones. But from my understanding, the crew is out at Pick a Post right now. Mike is currently solo on the trail. He did have a pacer, maybe a couple pacers yesterday, and hopefully he'll be able to grab someone once he gets to Rivas Ranch today. There should be a lot more access from here going forward for the next couple days until he reaches the section that Ben was on when he started his challenge. So he'll have really good beta for the last 200 miles going over all those peaks. Ben just went through there, so he'll have a good idea of what to expect. Let's see. We've got a check-in from Epix Nikros. Snowed for a few hours yesterday at his home in Utah. Aid Station Fireball is enjoying post-run Sunday pancakes and some AZT content for sure. This might be our first day without a trail check-in, unfortunately. Those guys, I'm surprised they didn't pull the Starlink out to do the check-in, but, what can you do? Maybe they've got some other stuff going on today. And we got C. Chad Run here in the chat, commenting, such a beautiful area. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and take a look at Mike Strava. So this has been one resource that we have been going to each day. And it looks like I was watching the tracker before I went to bed last night, and he was still coming into Roosevelt where his crew was pretty late into the evening. But I didn't see him upload anything, so he might still be on the same activity. He might have just got a couple hours of sleep. I think I saw he was back on the trail by 3 or 3:30 this morning. So it's incredible what he's doing right now. He's really pushing this thing. It seems like he's recovered a bit from what he went through those 2 sleepless nights. He's still moving pretty well, all things considered. So we don't have an update there. Let's do a quick sweep of some of the crew's social. So this is from yesterday morning, a view from the van, and here's Ben Light checking in with us yesterday. This is something we saw yesterday as well. This was at Sunflower before they headed out, and it looks like he's got some donuts from Hostess fueling him. The low-carb runner is indulging at the moment. We just saw that one. Nothing from Mike as of yesterday. Three Peaks was on the trail earlier in the challenge, but it doesn't look like they're out there anymore. Let's see here. Let's see if Derek posted anything. It sounds like there might have been some hallucinating. Mike's been hearing women's voices along the trail that didn't exist for 40 minutes. Here's some images from Derek out on the trail. You can see those amazing starry nights and some of those big mountain views through central Arizona. And this is from 5 minutes ago, so cool and rainy for Mike on the Arizona Trail. So there is a hurricane down in the Gulf of, or not in the Gulf, the Baja side of Mexico. I think it's a Category 3, and so it is overcast in Arizona right now. I woke up and it was in the high 60s, so he's got kind of the perfect weather to cross the desert the next few days if there ever was such a thing. I know that Mike struggles in the heat often, so that is a really good sign for him that he will hopefully have some relief on that end of things. Let's see here. Buckeye Jen says that the Babbitt Backyard Ultra has some brutal weather conditions. Last I heard, Aravaipa team member Pete Mortimer is one of 3 remaining. I didn't see the updates from this morning on that, but I have been trying to follow it. So yeah, he absolutely has some perfect weather. I think you couldn't have planned it better for the upcoming desert crossing. So my hoping is that he can get through the superstitions this morning, and as he drops out of them, according to Bryce, I did ask Bryce Brooks for some feedback on that section since he did it more recently than I did. And he says, I remember the soups being a bit better than the Madazels and 4 Peaks of 2019, but my recent loop around Weaver's Needle was super overgrown, so I'm not sure. It might be thicker now. There was a lot of grass descending Montana Mountain. That's the high point we talked about, where he'll be at in a couple hours later this morning. But it got a lot better after that through Mount Lemmon. And he said he's definitely in some of the least maintained areas of the entire trail. He can make up a ton of time through Mount Lemmon, especially with the cooler weather. I think it's still doable if he can get through the soups. So I would agree with that. And something I might try and do before tomorrow's show, which by the way is going to be hosted by Bryce Brooks. I will be out setting up for the Javelina 100. Is take a look and see exactly where Joe McConaughey's mileage, his Strava segments, start and end times and mileage were at. Granted, he was going south to north, but it could be a good benchmark to see, is Mike, an hour behind, an hour ahead, and hopefully he has as much accurate information as possible for making these decisions, and if this is doable. So I think at this point it's all up in the air, and I just hope he continues. I would say at least get through Oracle. I think he will cut back down on that time that he's potentially behind and maybe make his decision there. So we have an update here about the Babbitt's Backyard. As of 20 minutes ago, Babbitt's is down to 2 runners. Pete is one of them. It is snowing. Okay, I'm going to try and see if I can... Buckeye, is there any pictures of that from anyone? Oh, it looks like we might have something from Peter Mortimer here. So these are some scenes. They're way up near Flagstaff. I know that Rory was out there with Trail Gangstas. Oh, no, that's not it. No. Well, if you know how I can see any pictures of the Babbitts, I would love to check it out. I think Don Greenwalt maybe was out there. Let's see. Maybe on Facebook. Sun's coming up, sky is clearing just now, yard 28 done. So there's Pete Mortimer coming in. What is this? Oh, someone's camp. Cool. Alrighty. Okay, so let's move on to the other Arizona Trail attempts happening. We like to cover these each day before we end our show. So Eric Halston is absolutely smashing it at the moment. He is, according to his Garmin, past Matazal Peak at this point in time. So remember, he is 1 day behind Mike McKnight starting out, and he's making up ground, I'll be honest. And I would expect him to make up some ground through this part. He doesn't have a crew to worry about. He can just burn the candle on all ends. He can sleep when he needs to. He has all of his nutrition with him. So he is coming up towards Sunflower. And I believe Mike, 24 hours ago, had left Sunflower and was heading up towards Four Peaks. So that Sunflower crossing would be right around this creek down here. So still several hours behind Mike, but I would say gaining ground day by day here, which is impressive to see considering he is self-supported. We also have Krista Stardust Fasciano. She's going for the women's overall and women's self-supported record, which are only a few hours apart. She's been giving us 100-mile updates. She started the same day as Eric. So here is her 300-mile update from yesterday. Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't been on the right view. My bad. So let's see, 330 miles in. That looks like a breakfast from Pine this morning. Wow, definitely pushing hard. So I apologize, I wasn't on the right map view, so I was going to go through this again real quick. So here's Eric Halston. He is past Matazal Peak, as you can see here, as of just a couple of minutes ago. He is now descending down towards Sunflower, which will be right down here. This is where Mike McKnight left yesterday morning. So about 24 hours behind. He's making some ground. And here's Eric. And I was talking about the backyard. Here's what I was looking at. So this is just 3 minutes ago, posted by Colleen Lingley. This was Peter Mortimer coming in. There's just 2 people left in the Babbitt's Backyard Ultra here. Looks pretty cold up there, and they supposedly are getting some snow. Just in a big giant field. It's pretty crazy to see. What else were we looking at? I think that's about it. So the last thing we will talk about here is the Arizona Trail Race, bike race. This started a couple of days ago, and your lead biker is almost to Picket Post Trailhead. This is a little bit east of Phoenix, and your first 300-mile riders have finished, and this is, I believe, the lead 800-mile rider. So he's coming through Picket Post soon. And this is also where Mike McKnight is heading down shortly. So he's coming from the Superstition Wilderness just ahead. And he'll be there. So it looks like that's about all I have for today. We didn't get a check-in from the field, but hopefully we can see something tomorrow morning from the crew. They'll be in a little bit better service zone. So if you guys have any last questions, I'd love to answer them. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be a little shorter episode today. Once again, want to thank and shout out to Mountain Ops for their support. And if you guys want to donate to the project, you can do so. Go over to greatwesternadventures.com. And you can donate to the causes right here by clicking this link. So they've got a fundraiser. This is they have a $25,000 goal. They've raised $4,874 so far. So thank you to all of you who have supported Bigger Than the Trail and Rod's Heroes, which is the charity partners for this Arizona Trail Showdown this year. And at this point, it is more of a one-man showdown against the ghost of Joe McConaughey and his FKT fastest known time record. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow for our 9:30 a.m. check-in, and hopefully we'll have some good news that Mike is cruising and making his way down towards the Gila River, the lowest point on the entire trail. See you guys.